Hello everyone, and welcome to AmeriCorps VISTA and the First Aid Your Orientation, launching your VISTA Service webinar. My name is Eric Powell, and I'm joined by
Patrick Triano.
We'll be your hosts today from VISTA headquarters in good old Washington, D.C. You will also see our colleagues Jessica Birch, Calvin Landrum, Joanne Lau, Scott Weinrode, and Charles Wang in the chat and Q&A to assist us monitor this presentation.
Thanks, Eric. Folks, now that you know a little about who we are and where we're located, we'd like to know who you are and where you're going to be serving. So to do this, let's use the annotation tool to get a better visual. To do it, you need to first click on the marker icon at the top left corner above the slides. Then, click on the arrow in the toolbar to activate and click on the map where you start serving as a VISTA member as of today. As you know, we have VISTA members serving in all 50 states, as well as U.S. territories and tribal communities. Here we go. We've got Lonzo. Nice color, by the way, Lonzo. Clayton. Jonathan, Nadia, how come everybody's got such great names? Kashmin, Bethany, ooh, quite a few people in Florida. Calvin is in, looks like he's in Washington, D.C. with us. Oh, that's right, he works with us. Brandy, really, folks, you got great names. Kellen Smith, testing my geography, but I know that's the Pacific Northwest in Oregon.
One person in, what's the state above Oklahoma? I don't know my states very well. Arkansas? No.
The state, who are you talking about? Lonzo. Well, let me see.
No, Arkansas is east of that, so
that's not, wait a minute. You've completely confused, oh, shut up, Eric.
Sorry.
Lonzo, tell them where you're serving. I don't want to pay attention. I'm dealing with Rhea, who is either in the Galapagos Islands or Hawaii. By the way, this is the post-apocalyptic map of the United States where all of the continents have shifted. That's Alaska out there, and we don't have anybody. Okay. Did Lonzo tell you where he is?
Yes, he's at Oklahoma. I think his arrow is just a little bit too high.
Lonzo, you're never going to find the community you're serving. All right, shall we move on, Eric?
Let's do it.
Thank you, everyone, for doing that.
So now that we've talked a little bit about locations and we want to continue with the webinar, we want to briefly describe the session objectives. So as you can see on the screen, today we will describe VISTA's mission and the program. We're going to review a few of VISTA's recent accomplishments so that you're well aware of what VISTAs do. Identify support persons and resources for you during your year of service. We'll highlight action items that need your attention immediately. And at the end, we'll have a special person administering the oath of service.
All right, thank you, Eric. And as the Director of Training in AmeriCorps VISTA, let me officially welcome you to the program, a very proud program, Volunteers in Service to America. You're about to join a national movement with a very rich history. There are about 63 of you beginning service today, and this month about 170 VISTA members are coming on board. From a yearly perspective, more than 5,000 VISTA members are serving, both in rural and urban areas in all 50 states and in several territories and tribal nations. Volunteers in Service to America, or VISTA, have been supporting and at times leading the charge toward economic equity for more than 50 years. our strength comes from the talent, motivation, and energy of our members, soon to be one of you. So let me thank you for stepping up to share your skills and passion to serve our communities. It's honestly an honor for me to welcome you on behalf of the VISTA program. And I hope you feel the warmth and support from us and your fellow VISTA members. So now, as we're just getting to know one another, let's take a look at a few milestones in VISTA's history that have led us all to this very moment. Eric?
Thank you, Patrick. The VISTA program was born out of the Civil Rights Movement and the War on Poverty in the mid-'60s. And of course, social equity and economic opportunity, just as it was back then, continues to remain our mission. Our first volunteers were assigned in 1965 to Appalachia, Hartford, and the camps of migrant farm workers in California. President Johnson, whom you can see in this photo, said to those first VISTAs, "The initials of your organization spell VISTA. It is an appropriate name where you will be opening up new vistas of hope for the poor, achievement for yourself, and greatness for your nation."
So let's fast forward about 30 years to 1993. And VISTA joins AmeriCorps, becoming part of a network of national service programs of the Corporation for National and Community Service, or CNCS. You may have heard some of our grantees and partners: Habitat for Humanity, City Year, Teach for America, as well as the Rockefeller Foundation and Service Year. That's in addition to the programs we manage directly: the National Civilian Community Corps, FEMA Corps, and Senior Corps, in addition to AmeriCorps VISTA. So you're joining the ranks of over 220,000 VISTAs that have served before you. And just to name a few: George R.R. Martin, author of the Game of Thrones, served as a VISTA. Senator J. Rockefeller of West Virginia. One of my personal favorites, Ray Magliacci of Click and Clack, the Tappet Brothers on Car Talk. And Congresswoman Gwen Moore of Wisconsin, just to name a few. Eric?
We know that the VISTA program is committed to economic equity, but if someone were to ask you, what is VISTA's mission, how would you explain it? What makes VISTA unique in the government? Well, this is our elevator speech. The VISTA program strengthens organizations that alleviate poverty through the mobilization of volunteers and resources. And in addition to our mission, there are 4 key principles that underpin the program. Ending poverty. Every VISTA project and every VISTA member aims to end or alleviate poverty, one person, one family, or one block at a time.
Let me do the next one. Empowering community. So, in contrast to just parachuting in and doing good things for people, VISTA members live among and involve community members in the planning and carrying out of a project. So this is often facilitated by your sponsor, the organization whose office you're sitting in as we speak. But strengthening and improving the community is our long-term goal through learning about the values and beliefs, the assumptions, the community development principles, and the principles of good practice.
In terms of building capacity, all VISTA members aim to either increase the size of a project, increase the number of people served by the project, improve the project's efficiency, or improve the project's impact on the community. That is how we measure capacity.
Can I just say that I've come from a meeting in which there's a question whether our VISTA members actually understand what building capacity of an organization means.
Good point.
And you did properly enumerate how we measure building capacity, but ladies and gentlemen, this is an ongoing challenge for you in your service year. Figure out what it means to develop the capacity of your organization. We have many resources and a lot of training behind it, but this is a cornerstone of your service. And unfortunately, capacity building is a term of art that's not easily understood. So we welcome questions.
Absolutely.
And we're all ears, we're here for you. Creating sustainable solutions, shall I do that, Eric?
Yes.
So whatever you develop or create, a process, a system, or resources for your organization and community, we need to develop them in such a way that people will be able to use them once you have left the organization.
And if you believe that we have a responsibility to bring an end to poverty, and if you are committed to working with communities, then you should be happy that you are in the right place. These 4 principles guide community development for us, as we just described to you. Community work requires coordination and even collaboration while we work together towards long-range goals and the sustainable solutions that Patrick just mentioned. As you think about the principles we just covered, which one resonates with you, and why does it resonate?
Yeah, so maybe it's ending poverty. In the chat that a lot of you earlier said that you wanted to help bring people out of poverty in your community. Maybe it's ending poverty, maybe it's empowering your community. That might be a passion. Capacity building, like I said, is at the heart of our service. If you can get your mind and your arms around that, maybe that's what drives you. And then sustainability on all levels. Are our solutions long-lasting solutions? So what's coming in, Eric?
So far, I see one person says capacity really resonates with them, and then I also see empowering community.
All right.
Which are both very, very important in VISTA work.
It's very quiet out there.
I know.
Maybe they're not on a computer. Yes, creating. Here they come. I think empowering the community is important. When people feel powerful, they're more likely to act on their own.
Wow.
Isn't that true? Creating sustainable solutions? Yes, I hope we can do it.
I feel that empowering communities is close to my heart.
Oh, interesting.
Because the power of a well-organized community is unstoppable. I like that.
Which is probably true. Was it Margaret Mead who said it's only a handful of people with determination who have made the world a different place to live in?
I believe so.
Yeah, something like that. And I'm sure I mangled the quote, but sustainable solutions, again, resonates because lasting solutions are such an important factor in the future of an organization and community. Agreed.
Clayton just says yes, exclamation mark, so I'm assuming he agrees with everything.
or with William, who said, I believe given the tools, everyone can be given a fighting chance. Well said. Well said. Empowering communities. We can't do it alone, but many hands make light work. Agreed, agreed. As a matter of fact, you know, I don't know if you know this other term called theory of change. But our theory of change is that assigning you to your organization in your community is adding another very deft pair of hands to lighten the work and get the job done. So I'm with you. Who said that? That was Zachary. Thanks, Zach. Shall we move on?
Yes.
Okay.
So no matter which one principle resonates with you, your work as a VISTA member will address all of these principles during your VISTA year. Progress in the type of work is slow and incremental, but it's important to know that our work is not just about fixing stuff. It's about sharing perspectives, skills, and experiences that you bring to your service. The results of your work may not be apparent immediately, but once you step back, you'll be able to see the larger changes that have resulted from your work.
It was very funny that you say it's not about fixing stuff. Right? It's not a DIY, that's for sure.
Oh, do it yourself, got it.
This is not Home Depot, this is VISTA. It is not do it yourself, and it's not about looking for what's broken as much as it is what works and how can we build on it.
Yes.
Right?
That's a key component.
All right. Let's talk about your assignment and a document that hopefully all of you have called a VISTA assignment description. Because we get tired of saying VISTA assignment description, call it a VAD. So all VADs include three elements. The project goal, which is related to or identical to the goal of your project. In other words, you could have a goal that only pertains to your service year, but more often it's the goal, the 3-year goal of your project. Then there are objectives which describe what you will achieve by the end of your service year, right? The objectives are a bridge between the project goal and member activities. And then member activities specify pretty much what you're going to be doing day to day, week to week throughout the year. So those activities add up to the objective, and then the objectives add up to the goals. So each of you has your own VAD, and if you do not, then you need to let us know, and we'll point you in the right direction and get you that VAD. So no matter how many of you may be serving at a particular site or have already served at the same project, you still should have your own VAD. Because the VAD is your work plan for the year, we strongly recommend, and in fact, if I could visit each one of you, I would insist that you focus on it with your supervisor in the next couple of weeks, right? There's possibly no more important conversation other than where do I live if you don't have an apartment. Right after that is, and what am I going to do and what can I hope for, all right? So you're going to use this document to guide you in the next few days and in the next 12 months. So you really want to explore it with your supervisor. Now, there's a worksheet on the Starting VISTA page with all of the coursework that will help you work out the VAD's various elements. It includes you and your supervisor discussing your tasks step by step. So you can download that worksheet and use it as a way to prepare to discuss your VAD with your supervisor, all right? The other thing that I'm assuming you will do is set up a meeting with your supervisor right away, and maybe you already have. But the VAD is the best place to start a conversation about your VISTA year. Use it as a jumping off point. Okay, Eric?
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. Look, you can share in this. I have often given these statistics. look, I don't know if you number people, but these are very impressive numbers and statistics about the work our members have done in just the last year. All right? So, and all of their VADs reflect this work, and you may see yourself in some of this work as well. So in 2017, VISTAs have raised $206 million in cash and in-kind donations for their sponsoring organizations, right? So that's more than twice what Congress has given AmeriCorps VISTA to run the entire program. That's pretty amazing.
That's incredible.
It is, right? It is. There is no federal organization that I know of that can say it more than doubles the amount of money that Congress has given it. So all of you can stand very proudly behind that statistic. VISTAs have also recruited, trained, and assigned 800,000 community volunteers who collectively served more than 8 million hours. These numbers are so big that they're hard for me to process. The National Center for Children in Poverty estimates 16 million children in the U.S., that's about 1 in 5, live below the poverty line. VISTA members made it possible for their sponsors to serve 3 million of those children in after-school programs, tutoring, and assistance in food security. Programs supported by VISTA members served 140,000 veterans and military families. We have very specific projects and programs that address veterans and military families, which is why we have that stat. And then in a single year, about 8,500 VISTA members built the capacity of more than 4,500 nonprofits and public agencies, about 70% of them in their own hometowns. Since 1965, I think I alluded to this before, more than 220,000 VISTAs have served. So, these are incredible impacts that VISTA members like you have made and will make in the years to come. All right. So the impact you make this year depends on you, and it also depends on your community, your VISTA project, and frankly, on good luck. You are not the center of this universe. You carry responsibility on your shoulders, but I don't want you walking into this thinking that you're the only player, the most important player, or the one who needs to absorb all the responsibility. Nonetheless, we rely on you, all right? So as you think about this question, type your answer in the chat panel so that everyone will know and learn what impact do you hope to make as a VISTA member. And by impact, we mean what will be the end result rather than what will your activities look like, right? What will happen as a consequence of your success in service?
And Patrick, as we wait a second for some responses, I like how you articulated how we will be relying on the VISTA in that some of them who might already be living in their community might already be an integral part of their community, but if they're relocating, they're hopefully going to become an integral part, and they're working alongside and with community members to try to solve these problems.
That's right. And the thing is, I mean, we set up our members to take on very important roles in their organizations.
Yes.
As volunteers, not as staff. so they don't necessarily have the authority. They can't simply call people out of the community and the organization and they're going to show up.
Correct.
So cooperation, coordination, effective communication play huge roles in this. They're not solely responsible. We just expect them to do everything that they possibly can. So what are people saying? More kids in our city will have a positive relationship with the police. Mobilize change agents in the community to connect and work together to create effective school health programs. That's wonderful. And I have to ask Leah, if you have effective school health programs, then what happens? People in the Miami area will have access to healthier food options. And the university, this is Jennifer works at, will have a garden producing this food at a sufficient rate. Fantastic.
I see women and children in low-income housing will be empowered to advocate, provide, and protect themselves. They will gain a new respect for their community and community leaders.
More people will know their rights. Wait, it popped up on me and I missed it. It looks really, oh man, I missed it. More people will be aware that independence for the blind, hey, I had that job too, exists, and more blind people will be able to live their lives fully and independently. Who's that? Hope Hall? Hope. I used to be a mobility and orientation teacher for the School for the Blind. How great. And I worked with the blind in Africa. How great. I'm so glad you're doing that. What else is going on? And I don't mean to single you out, Hope. You just kind of touched the button for me.
I'm a little confused, but I'm sure there's more to it. Desiree says, a successful year of service means generating large attendance, family engagement events that is benefiting families in an impactful way. So I would also say there might be a, once that's done, what happens after that? What is, that's right. That's a means to an end.
That's absolutely right. Who said that, Desiree?
Desiree. I think that's how you pronounce it.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. Yeah, Desiree, yeah, I mean, once you get all these people in the party, and hopefully it's a great party or a great meeting, but once you've done that, then the question is, what happens, right? So probably in your VAD, you're focusing on mobilizing members of the community, but then you need to look at the goal beyond that objective to say, why? Why am I bringing these people together? Low-income families and seniors can afford to live in the community for generations to come. How lovely. As I grow older, thank you so much, Arana, to have a connection between housing, food, and employment and entrepreneurship. Wow. That's complex.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Wow. Well, shall we move on or continue? I could do this all day.
No, we can move on. You can feel free to keep continuing typing things in the chat because it's nice for other VISTA members and staff to see, because we really want you to really think about how will you make this a success.
Yeah, I agree, and it really is. Yeah, that was the larger immigrant population. There's another group I worked with. In the community will have access to more programs and services cater to newcomers, great, and recognize the YMCA as a diverse, globally minded organization who opens arms to immigrant families. Wonderful.
Very nice.
Wonderful. And Zachary, I agree. I really agree. You all rock.
Ditto.
All right. Yeah. Let's move on.
Yes. But before we do, let's quickly review what we just covered. We looked very briefly at how VISTA relates to other national service programs and what makes it unique in the federal government. We then dove into the VISTA mission and its key principles and discussed how they relate to your VISTA assignment description or VAD. And finally, we shared with you some of the impact VISTA members have had in the past year. So let's shift now to some ongoing support that you may want to tap into during your year of service.
Great. I think we're going to talk about our websites, right? So, folks, I'm telling you now, my name's Patrick. I'm the director of AmeriCorps VISTA training, and I'm vaguely responsible for both of these sites, one more than the other. So if you love them, my name is Patrick. If you hate them, forget me. You just got to plow through. But VISTA Campus, I think it's a lovely thing. These are the two main websites, and I'm pretty sure you've interacted with both of them, right? my.americorps.gov is where you apply to your position, where you did your direct deposit, and where you can access your VAD. It's also where in a few weeks you'll be able to access your living allowance statements, you know, sort of like your pay stubs. You can request certain benefits, and you can print your service letter. And we'll talk a little bit more about those in a minute, okay? Now, the VISTA Campus, on the other hand, is where you completed your onboarding courses and those tutorials. But the VISTA Campus has a lot more, frankly, than just the tutorials you completed before today, okay? There are opportunities for ongoing learning and professional development, webinars, meetups, audio files, other interactive tutorials. So you can sign up for the courses, find other VISTA members because we have a whole forum in there, and also learn a lot more about your benefits, often a challenge as you enter VISTA service.
And Patrick alluded to this earlier, but there is too much on this website, the vistacampus.gov site, to really explore all of what the VISTA Campus has to offer, because it is an important element in helping you navigate your year of service, whether it's through building skills, and we also encourage you to obtain professional development opportunities. So take some time when you have a chance to really make this website useful for you. A quick look at the navigation bar, as you can see on the screen, lets you know that there are materials to help you live as a VISTA and work as a VISTA. Here's just a snapshot of what's under the work section. You can also locate and reach out to other VISTA members under the Connect and Learn section of the campus.
Right.
And Patrick also talked about other ways to get involved, such as we offer webinars on a wide range of topics related to life as a VISTA, such as living on the living allowance. Many of you have emailed me questions about, I don't know how much I'm getting paid. Well, this is a great webinar to watch on demand to learn more information about how to do that. We also offer webinars on how to use the Siegel Education Award. And then we also offer webinars in the work section, such as building a digital ad campaign and strategizing your funding search. We do record all of these sessions and offer them as webinars on demand. So if you miss a session, you can always go back and watch it at any time.
So can I say a word about that?
Yes, please.
Generally, I hate webinars. Here we all are sitting on a webinar. I hate them. However, the VISTA training team is really brilliant at producing not only content-rich webinars, but they're worth listening to. The recordings, even though those aren't bad, and let's face it, they're a particular circle in hell in many cases. So I'm putting in the plug for our multimedia and webinar page.
Yes.
Thanks for letting me butt in.
Oh, absolutely. That was a good segue, because soon, in about a week or two, you'll get an email to a webinar we strongly encourage you to attend called Learning Opportunities for Service and Beyond. And this webinar will specifically help you develop a concrete plan for building skills that you will need to succeed during your VISTA service and afterwards.
Right. So this is really about how to professionally develop oneself in an informal environment for the next year, sort of through service learning.
Correct. And just a quick heads up, I believe your session is on May 2nd. That's when your Learning Opportunities webinar is. You'll get an email.
Great. All right. Let me talk about two of these larger online courses. One is on volunteer mobilization, and the other is on resource development and grant writing. All right, so these courses combine live webinars, online discussion groups, readings, and assignments. The courses are free, and if you successfully pass, you can receive college credit recommendation, right? We work through the American Council on Education for the college credit. The next round of course offerings is slated for May to July, and we'll begin accepting applications in late April. Space is limited, so go to the online courses page on the VISTA Campus for more details. And let me tell you, they're really competitive to get into. You can see by their subjects that they cut across many of the assignment descriptions. So we believe that what is taught in these courses, they're both about 10 weeks long, will be extremely valuable to you for the rest of the year. All right, thank you for letting me do that, Eric. So, what do we, yes.
The all-important topic.
Okay, so there are a few decisions and action items that you need to complete today and within the next 2 weeks. So follow this carefully. I know it's a whirlwind out there, but here we go. The first set of items relate to your VISTA benefits. The information that you need to make an informed decision on is located in the Benefits Hub, one of the tutorials you took on the Starting VISTA page. Okay? Yeah, so all of the information that you'll need is there. So first, your direct deposit. If you have any doubt that your bank account information is correct, maybe the routing and bank identification codes may not be quite right, please check again. Otherwise, you're just not going to get paid, right? Zip, zero, and zilch are my notes here, which I believe is true.
Mm-hmm.
Second is your end of service award. It's either the stipend of $1,800 or the Ed Award towards your loan and or tuition that amounts to, is it $59.20?
Yes.
It is, okay.
Yeah.
So read through the end of service section on the Benefits Hub carefully to make sure you picked the right end of service option for you. All right? And the third is health care, possibly the more confusing of all issues to deal with. So you need to opt for the health care allowance of $7,350 or the health care benefit plan if health care coverage is unavailable to you in your state or county. All right? So this may be a bit confusing to you. If you already have insurance, then you'll want the allowance. If you can't get insurance, then you want the benefits plan, okay? So check AmeriCorps.imglobal.com in about 2 weeks, okay? And it's going to take 2 weeks for your login to be activated, all right? This is a pretty large bureaucracy, so please take a breath with us. Once you figure out what you're doing at site, come back and visit us. We'll be ready to help you with your health care, okay? All right. Those are the three, I believe.
I think so.
Okay.
And just to kind of segue, if you have additional questions about your benefits at any time during your service, you should first review the benefits section of the VISTA Campus. And I think most of you already had in conversation with you via email. But you will want to know the details about all the benefits that Patrick discussed, plus the ones on the screen, because there's a wealth of benefits available to you. If you can't find the answer there, check through the VISTA Member Handbook. And if all else fails, as a last resort, you can always call the VISTA Member Support Unit, who is there to help answer questions about benefits, my.AmeriCorps.gov, and general assistance. And again, to reach the VMSU, you contact them through the National Service Hotline.
All right, so we gave them 3 action items, and let me see if I can remember what they were. They were make sure that your direct deposit information is correct.
Yes.
Decide what your end-of-service stipend is.
Mm-hmm.
And do we explain at any point that you can switch from the Ed Award to the stipend, but you can't do it the other way?
Now might be a good time to add that.
All right, but it's definitely in the benefits hub, right?
Yeah.
All right. So I'm just going to say it really fast, but you can read it really carefully in the benefits hub. You can switch from the Ed Award to the stipend, but you can't switch from the stipend to the Ed Award. It's because it's a trust, and you can't enter the trust after you have started service. And the last one was health care.
Correct.
All right, and I bet there are more action items for them.
There are.
Yeah.
Good point.
Yeah, and you're the one.
Yeah. So again, complete any missing onboarding forms. There's still a few of you that Charles emailed, so please pay attention to your emails. If you got an email from Charles, it means you're delinquent, and you must complete them in order to get paid.
These are the delinquents. Okay.
Not a good list to be on.
No. No.
Also, set up a meeting with your supervisor and make a copy of your VAD. If you can't find it, it's in your my.AmeriCorps.gov website, because you'll want to have that document ready.
That's a natural.
Yeah. And then finally, we mentioned it on the Countdown webinar, get fingerprinted, preferably this week. And if necessary, submit the criminal history questionnaire along with the fingerprint. You should have the fingerprinting materials, and if not, ask your supervisor today to give them to you.
Okay, well, that's fair enough then. I thought we were just piling on, but really, the first 2 that I said, that's just double checking.
Right.
I Am Global, they'll figure that out in a couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm. When they get the email.
Right. If they haven't done the work they were supposed to, well, come on. Okay, then make a copy of your VAD. Of course, it's your work plan. You need that. It's the fingerprinting then that's the extra step.
Yeah, so maybe we should go into just a little bit of detail on that.
Yeah, okay, so let's do that. So I believe we mentioned last week on the webinar that we'll need your fingerprints in order to run a criminal history background check. And the reason that we're doing it is to protect the community of VISTA members, of volunteers, and the people you work with, including yourself, right? So first, you need to get fingerprinted. And then the second is that when you applied, we asked if you had ever been convicted of a crime, right? So you may not have disclosed everything. Some people think that we only want criminal activity for 10 years back, like a resume, or because you thought a DUI was a minor traffic violation. And in many, many cases, you believe that your juvenile delinquency was expunged. But from the FBI archives, those records are never expunged. So if you failed to disclose any conviction, then please fill out the criminal history questionnaire that's included with the fingerprint cards and send that in with the fingerprint cards, all right? Then the criminal history check team will compare and contrast the report from the FBI along with this questionnaire, and if everything matches up, you should be just fine. And if there's any discrepancy, then there'll be a decent amount of follow-up. So if you haven't disclosed, let me recommend it's better to disclose. Don't worry. Don't try to withhold the information. Just share. We'll work with you. All right, Eric. It's all yours.
Trying to make sure I'm on the right page. So, as we said briefly, your supervisor has fingerprinting cards. Each person gets 2 and instructions. You are responsible for getting fingerprinted, so please make sure you do so.
No, that's right.
And then finally, fingerprints, because I know you all want to move on from this topic. But the VISTA program is providing you a $25 fingerprinting subsidy included in your first living allowance payment. You should also be provided a return UPS envelope, or your project may be able to pay to ship them back to VISTA headquarters.
Right.
And just a final reminder, the deadline for your fingerprints is Wednesday, May 16th. But again, please get them done sooner. Failure to submit them could jeopardize your service, so don't let that happen.
Yeah, it's a bit of a drag.
Yeah.
All right, let's move off of fingerprints. This is a large organization, and it can be somewhat confusing to understand where you fit in and where the resources, particularly the human resources that you need, are. So that's what this image is trying to help you with. All right? It's a graphic reminder of the list of resources that's on the starting VISTA page and in the coursework that you took earlier. You can search support, and it will show up for you. So you can manage your own support by taking the time to navigate the vistacampus.gov as well as AmeriCorps.gov so that you're familiar with them and know where to go. And when you're in doubt, contact the VMSU through the National Service Hotline. But just to be clear then, way up at the top, at the national Washington, D.C. level, we're administering and maintaining the VISTA Campus and AmeriCorps. All right? Also, the member support unit is located here with us. So if you have any questions around your benefits, around money in general, the VMSU are the folks who will help you. If you have any challenges, though, with your project, right, not with your benefits so much, not with training, but maybe your VAD doesn't match your work at all. And maybe you have no place to work. You have no computer station, et cetera, then contact your state office, because we have an office in every state of the union. Yeah? So just put in the state abbreviation at cns.gov, and they will be able to help you there. But we hope that the first place that you'll turn to for help and guidance will be your supervisor at the sponsoring organization, place where you're working at this moment. And some of you may even have a VISTA leader. If you're not sure what that is, ask your supervisor. If your supervisor doesn't know, it means you don't have one. Okay.
Well said.
Good?
Yes.
Okay.
So, now, one of the greatest things about being a VISTA member is really being part of the wonderful family of AmeriCorps VISTA, and as a VISTA community member, we really want you to show your VISTA pride. Get really excited to show who you are and what you do. Because you never know where you may make a connection with someone who already knows about the program. I was really quickly once on a train, and the guy saw that I was wearing a VISTA logo, and he told me he was in the 3rd class of AmeriCorps VISTA back in, I guess it would be 1968. It was a great conversation to have. We recommend you put the AmeriCorps VISTA logo on your business card, in your email signature, and on your organization's website and brochures, because the more visible you are, the more support you get for your project and the AmeriCorps VISTA program as a whole. That means more VISTA members in communities doing the work we need to get done. You'll see in the chat Joanne's posted web links that lead to places where you can get AmeriCorps VISTA publications and gear to use in your office and represent VISTA in the field. And don't forget to take pictures and share them with us through our Twitter and Facebook accounts. We may well share your story or retweet your photo. And finally, you will receive an email with instructions on how to order your free, yes, I did say free, VISTA polo shirt, lapel pin, tote bag, t-shirt, water bottle, and journal. We give you a lot of stuff. You'll get that email likely later this week once your oath has been submitted and all forms and courses have been completed.
Yep, I'm not sure you sold that with the gusto of a used car salesman. If that were our business, we'd have a lot of cars in the lot. But look, you people, get your gear, man. Get your gear. All right. Thank you, Eric. Are we ready to turn to the oath? I think we are, right?
We are.
All right.
Yes.
So let's do that then. Ladies and gentlemen, you are about to take the oath of service. So there are two aspects to this. One is filling out the form, and the other is knowingly taking the oath of service. It's a very important step in your becoming a VISTA member. And because of the importance of it, we're going to pause to talk about it a bit. We will first be posting instructions in the chat regarding the oath, particularly the form, and we want to make sure that everyone sees the information we're sharing. Once we're done with the oath, we'll open the chat back up for comments, all right? So if you have any questions at this time, you can type them in the Q&A panel and not in the chat. All right, so you're ready to take the oath of service. And to do this, you need the AmeriCorps VISTA oath form, which I hope your supervisor has given to you. All right? If you don't have it handy, you can print it from the VISTA Campus using the link in the chat that Joanne has just put up. Remember that you'll also, well, you don't need another person in the room with you, but you do need a witness when you sign the form, all right? They don't necessarily need to see you take the oath. They do need to see you sign the form. So we have a few instructions for filling out the form, some of which seem so obvious to me they drive me crazy, frankly. But you'd be surprised what we forget to do. So failure to submit a correct oath form, according to the instructions, will result in a delay of your becoming a VISTA, which is why I am going to walk through this along with Eric very carefully. All right? So if you don't have the form printed out right now, please just note the information that we're going to share, and then after the session, you can fill out the oath form. Okay? We don't want you to miss the instructions while you're running around trying to print it. All right? And believe me, I think the oath form is pretty direct, except for maybe one or two lines that are tricky. All right, sir.
Shall we?
Yeah.
So really quickly to get started, we know the form is obvious, but we're going to go over this in detail.
Here we go.
Number one, as you should know, print your legal name which you used in your my.americorps.gov application. We need to make sure it references you.
Say no more.
Done. Would you like to do number 2?
Yeah, your project sponsor. What is the name of the project you're working at? That's what you put down.
Makes sense. 3, put the city and state where you are serving.
That's the place where you are at this moment serving. 4, date of your first day of service. Now, this could be tricky, but it's today. Okay? April 16, 2018. And here comes the other tricky part.
Number 5, the CNCS official who is administering the oath of service, and I will type it in the chat so you understand. It is Patrick Triano.
That's me, Patrick Triano. And you may be wondering, what the heck is this? You need to have a federal employee, a federal servant to administer the oath. Yeah. So your supervisor or your best friend can't do it. All right. Are we ready?
I think so.
All right. Let me make sure. Let me go over my notes here.
And as we take a final look at this, before we do the oath, just remember that everything we said is on the oath form, so if you missed it or you didn't see the screen, follow the oath in detail, and then there's also instructions at the bottom that we'll go over after we're done taking the oath.
All right. Thank you, Eric. This is the oath of service, also known as the oath of office. And it's the same oath taken by all federal employees up to and including the vice president. The president's oath is ever so slightly different. So it includes the phrase, to defend the Constitution of the United States. So defend is not necessarily a call to arms. For some, in some positions, it may be. But for most of us, as AmeriCorps VISTAs, defense of the Constitution may be just the opposite of bearing arms. The Constitution, mind you, is not an administration. It's not even a flag. Rather, the Constitution embodies the principles that elevate us from a loosely organized group on the North American continent to a civil society. So we're pledging to defend the document that contains our civil rights. It also says to defend that Constitution against all enemies. In the term enemies, I ask you as an AmeriCorps VISTA to let us be community builders, as change agents, and, well, even simply as citizens, let us choose our enemies very carefully. I believe more often an enemy is a reflection of ourselves in bad light. So please, build bridges before you make enemies. We will all profit. And in the context of VISTA, of course, the enemy is a concept of poverty, or what motivates poverty. Okay, 2 other things about this oath. First, you may replace the word swear with the word affirm, and if you choose, you may omit the phrase, so help me God. Okay, now I want to recognize that we are all in different locations around the country, scattered in so many sites and so many states that we just don't have the benefit, really, the beauty of hearing each other's voices as we recite this, but it is pretty cool to know that as you're taking this oath, scores of your fellow VISTAs are doing the same thing at the same time all across America and Hawaii. So it may seem awkward to recite the oath aloud when you're alone in a room, but really you're taking the oath for yourself with us. So do it with us for yourself and make it count, all right? So if I may ask, please raise your right hand and recite the oath aloud with me. I do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, that I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office on which I am about to enter. So help me God. Congratulations.
Yay!
Yay! I wish we could make more noise. Yay!
Woohoo!
Yeah.
Know that we're here cheering for you, and you are cheering for yourselves, which is great. But you're not quite done. A couple final next steps that are critical. So this is important, so please make sure you sign and date the form in the white area.
Sign! Yay!
Make sure you sign where it says AmeriCorps VISTA signature and put today's date, April 16, 2018. Then moving to the next slide. Once you and your witness, oh, I forgot to say, have you?
Yeah, you forgot the witness, man.
You go ahead. Clearly I missed that part.
Yeah, so look, here's the thing. That thing about the witness signature, we need to know that somebody knows your name and your signature actually belongs to your person. That's all we're asking. So it could be a coworker, could be a supervisor.
True.
It just needs to be somebody who is actually seeing your signature as you fill out this form.
Good point.
And for people who don't have the form, just don't forget, today is your first day of service. Patrick Triano, that'd be me, the person who administered the oath, and the rest is easy.
Right.
Right? Right. Okay.
So now maybe I should chime in.
Or change the slide.
Right.
Go right ahead, sir.
See, this is why everyone keeps me honest, because I don't really know what I'm doing. But once you and your witness have signed it, make sure you scan a copy of your oath into a PDF format. Not a photo. Don't take it with your camera or your cell phone. Make sure you scan it into a computer, because we need a clear copy.
That's easy enough.
I think so.
And then email it.
Yes.
Yeah, I think this is pretty easy.
It should be.
Folks, if you have any questions, just contact Eric. Don't call me, call Eric. He'll help you.
And I won't read it, but you'll see on the screen the subject of the email you need to put so that our VISTA member support unit knows it's you and it's coming from this virtual member orientation. That way, and all this information is at the bottom of the oath, so just follow those instructions correctly and you'll be all set.
Oh, that's right. It'll say it on the next slide. Let's look at the next slide. It says oath. Put your first name, your last name, and today's date, right? Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
Pretty self-explanatory.
Yes.
The important thing is to make sure you hit send when you email it, because the VMSU needs to track it.
I cannot believe we give such detail. Ladies and gentlemen, please, you're killing me with this detail. So, we've taken care of that, right? Yes, we have.
Yes.
Okay. We'd very much like to know what right now. So if you'd be so kind, on the right side of your screen, you'll find a very quick poll where you can share feedback about this webinar. So if you could take a moment to answer the question, we'd like to be able to improve this webinar, and your input really helps us. Luckily, my salary is not tied. Well, maybe it is. So if you really liked my work, you know, you can write my name in and just say how fantastic that guy Triano was. But otherwise, don't worry. You can just get in there and rate us. The truth is better. So whatever that is. Should I say any more about the poll? No, it's pretty straightforward, right?
It's pretty straightforward.
Okay. So are we going to give these guys, like, question and answer, or do we not have time for that?
We have just a couple of minutes, so we'll ask Terry to open the phone lines, and we have one or two questions that came in through the Q&A.
Yeah?
Yep.
Okay, good. Yay.
So, Terry, it's all yours.
Okay. If you would like to ask a question on the phone lines, please press *1 and record your name at the prompt. Again, to ask a question on the phone lines, press *1. Please check to be sure that your line is unmuted and record your name when prompted.
So, Patrick, one question that I think you touched on is, could I use the federal background check that my VISTA site already asked me to complete before starting, then also send in my fingerprints using the kits provided?
I'm not sure what that question means. If what, do we have a name attached to it?
Shelby Wolf.
Shelby? Yeah, I remember seeing Shelby's name. I think in the Pacific Northwest, if I remember correctly. So Shelby, if what your organization asked you to fill out was our VISTA criminal background check and they were just getting ahead of the game, then of course, use that. However, if it is a separate criminal history check because perhaps you're working with a school district, then no, you have to get a separate set of fingerprints. I know it sounds a little frustrating, but it's a legal and security issue, so we have to ask you, no, use our cards for us. Now, if your school district is willing to just trust our judgment, that's another situation, but they're usually not. Both systems want to adjudicate and review your criminal history or lack of criminal history for themselves.
I like that answer.
I'm so glad.
There was one other question that came in, but it was an easy one. It was,
I'm really good at it.
Is VISTA gear free?
Is VISTA gear free? See, I told you didn't sell it well enough. It's free, yes. Prices are insane. It is free. At least this first batch of VISTA gear, and it's a lot of stuff. I mean, it's tote bags and T-shirts and polo shirts and pins.
Water bottle and journal.
Water bottle and journal. It's a pretty good deal. And our hope is that the more visible you are in your community, the more support you individually will get. And I'll be selfishly honest, the more support the program on a national level as well as a local level will get. If they know that we're present, then they know that we're working with them and for them. It's what it's all about. So, operator?
On the phone lines, we've got Lonzo Davis. Your line is open.
Lonzo, hi.
Hey, how's it going? Thanks. I was just wondering Patrick's last name.
Triano. It's a good Italian name. T-R-I-A-N-O.
Thank you, Patrick. I couldn't see because my program froze up.
No problem, Lonzo. Thanks for calling in, and thanks for spelling my last name correctly.
Terry, do we have other callers in?
No, there are no other participants in the queue, but as a reminder, press *1 and record your name when prompted.
And for those of you who are online, this is a chance to ask your questions, May 2nd will be a second opportunity to say, darn, I should have asked that question when he asked. Anything coming up? I don't see anything.
Not right now.
Okay. I mean, you know, I am a believer in the principles of open space. So if we are done, then we are done.
Okay,
Patrick and Eric, this is Scott. We did have one question come in through the WebEx Q&A that you may not be able to see. It's from Carmen asking, are our supervisors supposed to have the fingerprinting forms?
And the answer is yes. Just to make it plain and simple, yes. If they don't have the forms, direct them to contact the state office. Thank you, Scott, for raising that question. And operator, I think you were about to say something as well.
Yes, we do have one other question in the queue. I'm sorry, your name was not recorded. Please check the mute on your line. Your line is open.
Tracy, Thomas, Genesis, and Light. Will there be any VISTA retreats coming up so that we all can fellowship with one another and get to know each other?
That's a lovely question. We don't refer to them as retreats, but we are in the process of designing and preparing for in-service trainings. So this is a shift for us in training, moving away from in-person pre-service training to in-person training, or in-service training, excuse me. So that is our intention, Tracy. So please stay tuned. And in the meantime, please stay connected with us virtually through the webinars and the forums. Is that right, Eric?
That's correct.
All right. Thanks for that question, though. I really, really appreciate it. And fellowship is correct. That is what it's about, mutual support, knowing that we're doing this very hard work together. Hard and incredibly important work.
Two more questions came in the Q&A. One of them, Clayton asked, where can I access the student loan deferment? Clayton, in about a week, you'll have a new My Education Award link in My AmeriCorps, and all of your loan forbearance and information can be processed through your my.americorps.gov account. So it's pretty straightforward. And then Patrick, I'm going to pass this question off to you because it's also easy. Marcus asked, not that you can't answer hard questions, what would be the procedure in terms of timesheet?
See, I think I get the nuanced, interesting questions.
But they're so cool and quirky.
Yeah, no, they're great. No, I'm not complaining. I'm thanking you. Who was that?
Marcus.
Marcus. Marcus, from our perspective, you are available all the time, right? 7 days a week, roughly 24 hours a day. And that is how we pay you. We don't pay you by the hour. We pay you in 2 week increments, right? Based on the formula of poverty. However, your supervisor in your organization may track your hours because in all reality, we end up working at least an 8-hour day, 5 days a week, with a weekend off. So you are right to ask that question, but that's a question to ask your supervisor during your on-site orientation and training. So let me just add to that brilliant question. In the next week, and maybe for up to 2 weeks, depending on how deep your organization goes into your orientation and training, you will be introduced to your organization as well as your community. And there's also a good resource that's on the Starting VISTA page, right? Sort of giving guidance of, well, what are the kind of things that I should look for in an orientation and training? You know, so part of it is the most basic stuff. Where's the copier? Mm-hmm. Where's the bathroom? Is there a kitchen? That sort of thing. Where are the restaurants? Are there any food trucks?
Right. What's around?
What's around here? So it's all the basic stuff of what's in this building, as well as do we have regular meetings? When do we meet? Et cetera, et cetera. But then there's the other aspect of who are we serving? What community within this community are we serving? How do I meet them? Who must I know, right? So please go back to that Starting VISTA page and take a look at those courses around measuring poverty, profiling, no, that's a bad word, developing the profile, yeah. Developing a profile for your community, which is to understand what are the demographics and the statistics that have been gleaned from your community. It's really worthwhile. So along with that question of timesheets are all those other very important basic questions that we're relying on your supervisor to give you. Anything else going on there, Eric?
Not from what I can see. Scott or Terry, do you have anything in final queue before we wrap up?
No.
Okay.
Excuse me, no, there are no other participants in the queue.
Okay, great. Okay, well, with that then, Eric, I'm going to say thank you for this opportunity, and ladies and gentlemen, thank you for this opportunity. I wish you a wonderful and successful year of service. And I don't necessarily wish you an easy year of service, but I hope that the challenges are just enough to help you grow. And the success is just enough to keep you sweet. So good luck, all of you.
Thank you all.